very first time was my brother got involved in martial arts before me. I have an older brother, a year and a half older than me. And he started studying a Japanese karate, Yoshikai karate. He studied it for a while, I don't know how long, and then he went to Pt1 Kung Fu, and he became a black belt. And he was a black belt before I had ever taken a single lesson in martial arts. And when I went to the U.S. Coast Guard Academy in 1972, they had a karate program. So I thought, well, you know, my brother's studying martial arts, and he's teaching it, and I'll try this karate thing. And I studied Goju under a man named Chuck Merriman, who was very high-ranking, and as it turned out, you know, one of the most important things you can do when you have a goal is to start in the right direction. If I want to go to China, I can do everything great, but if I'm pointed the wrong direction, I can run, I can catch rides, and you're never going to make your goal. And Chuck started me with a very good foundation in traditional martial arts. Within a year or so, I left the Coast Guard Academy and I went back to Florida. Now I had a choice. I could either pay for karate lessons or I could take free lessons from my brother, Kung Fu. So I did not make a choice of Kung Fu is better than karate and better than Taekwondo or whatever. It wasn't that way. It was one cost money and one did not. As it turned out, my Kung Fu style, Daniel K. Pai, Pt1 Kung Fu, was a very open-minded guy. He actually is related to Ed Parker. And a lot of Kempo is very similar to Pt1. And I think Kempo is a great martial arts, and Pt1 Kung Fu is a great martial art. And I started out right in the beginning. Very open-minded, not this kind of, my style is the best and everything else is inferior. Daniel K. Pai believed the technique that works is the best one. And he gave me a good foundation. Now, of course, after that, I did a lot of work. I went to other styles and trained. I cross-trained from the very beginning. Trained with Taekwondo, trained with boxers, you know, tried to expand my knowledge of all the martial arts. And of course, Bruce Lee was around at that time, early in my career. His movies were hitting, and I was reading about his philosophy, and that reflected on me also. That encouraged me to open my mind up and study everything, and not be closed-minded. So I was at the right place at the right time in the martial arts to, you know, hopefully excel. Well, kickboxing started in America in 1974, and the PKA started, and the first champions, of course, were Bill Wallace, Joe Louis, Jeff Smith. Benny Urquidez actually did not win in his division. Isaiah Duenas, I believe, a Mexican fighter, won. But the sport started, full contact karate is what they called it then, in '74, and I saw that. And my brother was a tournament promoter, and he said, Don, if I promote one of those like that, full contact with a knockout, would you fight in it? Because he thought it would be hard to get fighters because most guys don't want to fight to the knockout. And I said, absolutely. That's the difference between touch football, American football, and NFL football. Touch football, you pull the little flag out or whatever, but tackle football, that's the real thing. So for me, point fighting was fun, it was competitive, but to really be able to hit somebody, that I could test my skills and improve as a fighter. So I fought the first fight on the East Coast of America, you know, in Florida anyway. And I lost. I had a broken hand going into the fight, re-broke it. It cost me, I believe, $400 or $500 in '74 to get it reset. So I lost money, lost the fight, and I had a great time. I was so happy. It was so wonderful to be able to really throw a kick at a real human hard. Because imagine how frustrating, especially in the Chuck Norris's days where they could not really, they would not fight to the knockout, they just scored the points. Now they did throw, in the '60s, they did do some hard hitting in those days, they didn't have pads, but it was just so wonderful to really have a human being to unload my real techniques, you know. I just fell in love with it right off the bat, from the very beginning.